I've received a note from the jury that reads, we have a unanimous verdict for the killing of Devin Clark. We remain deadlocked for the killing of Lyric Woods. So let me first make this inquiry, Mr. Foreman. Do you feel that any further deliberations will assist you in the jury being able to reach a unanimous verdict in the charge involving Lyric Woods?
Honestly, Your Honor, I don't believe more time would, based on everything that we've gone through over the last 2 days, I don't believe more time would move the needle.
Okay. As to the verdict sheet, killing of Devin Clark, have you indicated the jury's verdict and dated and signed that?
I can do that right now. I didn't know if we were going to go back.
I don't think I've ever had a foreperson ask me to do that while they're sitting in the jury box. Go ahead and do that. And if you'll do one other favor for me, would you pull out everything but the verdict sheets? In fact, let's do this. This probably be easier. Let me go ahead. I'm going to excuse the jury back to fill out the verdict sheet that you do have a unanimous verdict on. Take out all of the other exhibits, keep them together, and bring them back in with you with the envelope, please.
These go in the envelope.
Those go in the envelope. All right. All right. So if everybody will please remain seated. I will excuse the jury just time to fill out the verdict sheet. Let the bailiff know when you've got that all filled out and situated. All right. Everybody else remain seated. All right, our jury is outside of the courtroom. At this time, we have given an Allen charge, and the jury foreperson has indicated he does not believe that any further deliberations will assist the jury in being able to reach a unanimous verdict as to the charges relating to Lyric Woods. Do I have any motions?
Yes, Your Honor, pursuant to 15A 1063, subsection 2, I would move the court to declare a mistrial as to, I believe it's count 1, the murder of Lyric Woods.
What says the defense?
Defense consents and agrees to that motion by the state.
I will have it showing then that it's a joint motion on both the state and the defense to declare a mistrial as to what we believe is count 1, the charges related to the killing of Lyric Woods. At this time, I will enter an order making specific findings of fact, finding when the jury began their deliberations, the notes they have sent out, the amount of time they've spent deliberating, when the Allen charge was given, the jury's continuing deliberation, and the inquiry in open court of the jury foreman as to whether any other time would assist the jury in reaching a unanimous verdict, and his indication that it would not. Based on all of that, I will grant the joint motion, declare mistrial as to that count.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
So we will be receiving a verdict as to the second count, the charges dealing with the murder of Devin Clark. You may have a seat. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make sure everybody understands this. What will happen is that I will receive the verdict form showing the jury's verdict as to the murder of Devin Clark. I have granted the mistrial as to the charges related to the murder of Lyric Woods. What that means at this time, there will not be a verdict entered as to those charges. There will be a mistrial declared, which means at some future time, the state and the defense will figure out either to retry it or some other resolution to those charges, but they will not be resolved today. As to the verdict dealing with Mr. Clark, I know everybody that is in here is invested in the outcome of this trial. This is an extremely horrific situation. All of these young people. The jury has clearly worked extremely hard on trying to do the right thing and has been working tirelessly in reaching a decision. Because of that, I want everybody to know there will be no reaction to the jury's verdict, whether good or bad. I understand and am sympathetic to the fact that this is an emotional situation. And what I'm telling you right now, it is okay to have emotions about this. But if you feel that you cannot remain quiet when the verdict is announced, that you cannot refrain from reacting to that verdict, I'm going to ask you to step outside the courtroom at this time. This is a hard rule I'm going to announce. Anyone who reacts to the verdict, positive or negative, it does not matter. I have asked the bailiffs who are present here in court to immediately take anybody who does that into custody. I will consider that to be a purposeful disruption of court. That will be a contemptible act. I will, no matter who it is, take action for that. So at this time, if there's anybody in here who believes they cannot refrain from visibly or verbally reacting to the jury's verdict, I'm going to ask that you step out now. If you stay in this courtroom, you stay understanding the consequences if you cannot do that. All right. Do we have word from our jury that they've completed the verdict form? All right. We're going to be at ease until such time as the jury indicates they have finalized that verdict and are ready to bring it to be read into open court. All right. Keep our alternates where they are at, but please bring in our 12 jurors. Mr. Foreman, if you'll stand up, please. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict as to count 2 regarding the charges in the murder of Devin Clark?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
And have you so indicated that verdict by marking on the verdict form, dating, and signing that form?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
All right, if you please hand that to the bailiff. Mr. Ross, would you please stand up? Members of the
jury, you have returned with the following verdict. State of North Carolina in the General Court of Justice, County of Orange, file number 22 CR 000200670. State of North Carolina versus Issiah Ross. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant Issiah Ross to be guilty of second-degree murder of Devin Clark. This the 29th day of January 2026. David J. Marini, foreperson. Is this your verdict? So say you all.
Record will indicate that all of the jurors have indicated that is their verdict. Mr. Trapp, anything else for this jury at this time?
No, Judge.
All right. All right. Madam DA,
Yes, Your Honor.
do we have a record sentencing worksheet for the defendant, Mr. Ross?
Yes, I do.
Can we have a moment in reference to sentencing, Judge?
Ms. Orr, you got that all signed? Ms. Orr, if you'd hand that to Mr. Trapp so he can go over that with his client, get that signed as well.
May I approach with the worksheet, Your Honor?
Yes, please. Ms. Orr, is the state ready to proceed as to sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor, we are. Your Honor, I do have a number of family members who would like to provide victim impact statements to the court. And if it's all right with the court, I will have them go first.
Yes. Tell me first, if you don't mind, your name.
My name is Cassandra Bryant.
Yes, Ms. Bryant.
Your Honor, thank you for allowing Clark family to speak about Devin. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This is Psalms chapter 34, verse 18. Your Honor, this verse has carried our family through some of the darkest moments since losing Devin. This heinous crime did not just take 2 lives, it shattered 2 families' entire lives. We are now left to carry the emotion mentally and spiritually weigh this loss every single day. Devin was 18 when he was tragically taken from us. Yes, yet we have already become a source of strength, love, and guidance. Our 6'3" gentle giant with a presence that filled every room, not because he was tall or even loud, but because he carried a kindness, a calmness that drew people in. At the time that he departed this earth, he attended Eastern Elements and was a wide receiver who proudly wore the number 4. Devin played with passion that reflected who he was on and off the field. Football was more than a sport to him. It was a dream. It was chasing with everything he had until that fatal night on September the 17th, a day that is etched in our broken hearts. Beyond the athlete, he was a son. He was a big brother to his younger siblings, Delasia and Devontae. He was a grandchild. He was a nephew. And he was a best friend to Eric, Sadarion, and my son, Dontrell. Losing him has left everyone with a pain too heavy to carry and a constant question of why. For Darren's parents, Dexter and Tiffany, grief is constant. There is no preparation for the silence that follows the loss of a child. No preparing for his empty room, missing his voice and laughs around the house and the milestones that we will never get to witness, which is graduations, careers, relationships, and simple joys of just watching him grow into the man that he was becoming. Every day, they wake up with the reality that their family and our family will never be whole again. Devin had dreams, he had goals, and he had a future. He deserved a chance to live out these dreams. Our family deserved the chance to see who he would become. Instead, we are left with memories that ended far too soon and a lifetime of wondering what could have been. The emotions toll on our family has been overwhelming. We struggle. Devin's name meant the world to us and represented who he was to us. He was darling, beloved by his family. He was essential. His presence mattered deeply. He was valued. He was deeply cherished by his family and friends. He is irreplaceable. No one could ever take his place. He was nurturing, especially to his 2 younger siblings. His last name meant something to us. He was cherished, deeply loved. He was legendary. He was an angel. He was rare, and he was a keeper. Someone we would continue to hold close in memory and heart. Never would our family have imagined that our acts of kindness to Issiah would result in our loved one being taken away from us. Because of what he did, our world is broken in a way that we can never be repaired. You didn't just take life. You took someone's child. You took someone's joy. You took our future and our peace. Every day our families wake up in silence with their voices should be. Every night we all go to sleep knowing that we will never hear his footsteps. We will never hear his laughter. We will never hear I love you again. I need you to understand, Issiah, that your actions didn't end Devin's and Lyric's last breath. They echo through our home, through our hearts, through every moment we now have to live without them. You changed the course of our lives forever. I hope you carry the weight of that truth, because we carry it every single day. And we ask the court to consider the magnitude of what has been taken from us. No sentence can bring Devin or Lyric back, but we hope that the decision made today reflects the seriousness of this loss and the value of the lives that were taken. Thank you, Your Honor, for listening and considering the impact this tragedy has on our family.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Testing. Got me. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to speak. I'm the cousin of Devin Clark. My name is Dontrell Lee. And Devin was more than just my cousin. He was my brother, my protector, all in one. He was just nothing but a light to me in my world. I never had a brother. I always had sisters, and I'm the youngest. But he was the one I could look up to just to learn from him. A lot of people know Devin as a gentle giant. He was very kind, sweet. He made sure that his presence was known for everyone. And he was just a really good guy to me. It means a lot to me that he's gone. It happened when I was 18. I don't think no 18-year-old should have to deal with that. And I was in college, 30 minutes from home. I can't even hear his voice no more, and it just hurts. Devin brought a light to people. And not only Devin, as I heard from Lyric people, I heard that she brought a light to people as well. He was the glue to our friend group. Whenever we had arguments, fallouts, he was the one that made sure we always stuck together, no matter how hard it was. Devin was really gifted in this world. And he was taken away so early. And it just doesn't seem real to me. And I'm really hurt by this because Devin was really a piece of my life that I still feel like I need to this day. And I just hate how I can't hear his voice anymore. It just hurts to see that he was in our face. Isaiah was in our face. In our home. Now, it just all made a big twist, and I just can't believe it. I really do miss him, and I do thank you for allowing me to speak on this stage, Judge.
Thank you for telling me about him. Thank you for telling me about him and what he was in your life. Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Your Honor, my name is Alexandria Blackwell. Your Honor, I have 3 amazing sons. One of the greatest joys of parenting 3 boys is always having a house full of rambunctious laughter of their friends. Devin was one of the young men that I affectionately call my bonus son. I love and nurture him like my own. When I first met Devin, I immediately observed how energetic and kind he was. He was super talented in sports. Many people recognize him for his tall stature, the gentle giant. But I remember Devin as the caring older brother. Devin was always looking out for others. He was mature, he was respectful, he was part of my family. He was a big brother to my younger sons, attending birthday parties, volunteering at my assisted living home. If something special was going on, we wanted to make sure that Devin, along with others, was always there. Devin was a great friend to my son, a best friend. Trust was built, disagreements came, but loyalty, respect, and love remained between Devin and his close friends. The tight-knit group of the young men affectionately created special names for each other that reflected their brotherhood. Devin was so close to my sons that if I saw one and not the other, I would ask, "Where's Devin?" That was normal life, especially on the weekends, and today it still is. I'm grateful that Devin's parents allowed him to spend time in our home, and still appreciative to this very day that Dexter and Tiffany and Dexter Dad continue to welcome my son at their home as often as they do, as Devin was still with us, just the same. I can never imagine the deep pain that Devin and Lyric's parents are facing. I can tell you that the day Devin's life was taken, my son and his friends' lives were forever changed. Let us not forget also that 3 families experienced a great loss that day. This is a tragedy, though, that will never be forgotten. The summer of 22 was a busy and exciting time. My son and a lot of his friends graduated from high school and celebrate the accomplishment with a week at Myrtle Beach. The bond that summer grew even closer and special memories were made as the boys made music together. They had cookouts, they traveled. They realized that life was changing and making memories was special. Your Honor, my last one-on-one conversation with Devin haunts me some days, not because of anything wrong, but the truth in the word spoken in itself. That summer, my son saved all his graduation money to purchase his first 4-wheeler. Although we were reluctant to make such a big purchase, his choice, all the boys were excited, but especially Devin in particular. He encouraged my son. He helped my son. When my son made the purchase, he told him, "Keep practicing. I got you. I'm going to show you how to do this, the tricks and it all." One particular day, I came home from work to the usual yard of teenage boys working on a 4-wheeler. Not long after, I heard a loud boom, and I rushed outdoors down the street. Devin had crashed on the 4-wheeler. Rushing down the street, I found the 4-wheeler on his side, and Devin's leg was bleeding. Of course, we helped both Devin and the 4-wheeler back to the driveway. I immediately went into mom mode, assessed the injury, and dressed Devin's leg. He was so upset. I urged him to calm down. You see, Devin was not upset because of his hurt leg, but because of the hurt and disappointment in himself for causing hurt to my son. Devin repeatedly apologized and kept shaking his head, saying he couldn't believe he messed up E, my bro's 4-wheeler. I hugged Devin. I looked him in his eyes, and I told him that we can get another 4-wheeler, Devin, but we can never get another you. Although I said that to Devin, not trying to explain to him how important life was, I never thought in a million years that a month and a half later that his life would be taken away from us. And for what? I don't think we'll ever know why. And that in itself is a burden we must bear. However, I'm starting to realize that knowing all the facts and all the details and all the answers to our questions is never going to give us Devin or Lyric back. I will never forget the Saturday my son called from his dorm at ECU and said, "Mama, Devin is not answering and no one can get in touch with him. I think something's wrong." I normally would have said, "You overreacted," but I could hear the chills in my son's voice. As the day and night passed, no Devin. We were worried, we were scared, we reached out to everyone we knew, we made social media posts, we prayed. The following day, Sunday morning, still no Devin. And in that moment, I knew something serious had happened. But I still believed that Devin would come home. We desperately tried together to paint a timeline of what happened and who spoke to him, anything to give us hope. Distraught, my son called and asked me to please come get him from college. Hearing my child's voice, I went and got my child. Just before leaving home to travel to Greenville, I received a call that 2 bodies had been found. I rushed to the church on Buckhorn Road where it was confirmed that it was Devin and Lyric. My heart sank, but this can't be real. This can't be true. When I called my son to tell him what happened, he already knew. Someone had told him. My son Eric seemed to be in shock. He was not crying. There was just pure darkness and disbelief in his voice. I got to ECU and it would seem like an eternity. I hugged my son. Although Eric, my son, got in the car, he was not the same Eric that I dropped off months before. All his innocence, his smile, and his laughter was gone. Eric began to struggle with what if? What if I had came home that weekend like he had done previous weekends? What if he had talked to Devin later Friday night? My son struggled returning to school. He didn't want to leave his friends. He didn't want to leave his brothers. He wasn't able to sleep. It haunted him over what happened, reliving the same nightmare as if he was there. His goals for the moment were put on hold. By the end of the semester, he came home. He never returned. As a parent, I was relieved to know that my child was across the hall and I could check on him and be strong for him. Was a blessing that I do not take for granted. The tattoo in memory of Devin did not numb my son's pain. The bad habits that temporarily used to escape anxiety and depression only brought temporary moments of normalcy. Some things only come through prayer and fasting, Matthew 17:2. So we do what we know has sustained in the past. We prayed, we fasted, we believed. After Devin's death, Eric felt more peace with his friends and remaining close to Dexter and Devontae. And to Devin's family, thank you. As you continue to go through your pain and healing, you have allowed my son to remain close to your family. The close relationship is healing for Eric's broken heart. My son, whom I admire his strength and perseverance, is leaning on his faith in God. He's made a conscious decision to live life to its fullest. I'm going to do this a little more, Mama, and honor Devin in every step that I take. This May, when my son graduates, he said he'll be walking across carrying Devin, something that Devin could never have the opportunity to do. Now, Eric takes trips on that four-wheeler from state to state as he rides in the air. Sometimes freely says that the closest he feels to Devin during the time that he's on that four-wheeler, being free, just as Devin is today. Your Honor, Devin was a force to be reckoned, a tall, compassionate, respected young leader of West End. He will forever be remembered for his athletic gifts, but most importantly for his love and willingness to make everyone feel like they belong. And for that, and for now, we rest. We are still brokenhearted, but we are not broken. We will live every day to the fullest in awareness that life is a gift and that Devin and Lyric's life matter. For there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, Proverbs 18:24. Even through death, my son will forever remain Devin's best friend. We will forever cherish Derek Clark, the D, determined, faith-driven young man, the E, the energetic spirit and encourager, B, vocal, vibrant personality, a volunteer to help the elderly, I, imaginative, impressive spirit, N, nurturing to his younger siblings and cousins, C, the compassionate, he will give you his last, L, the loyalty my son never had to wonder if Devin had his back, A, admired for his talents, his football, basketball skills, and he was a lyrical genius. K, he was kind, knowledgeable of the things he enjoyed, and forever resting with the Almighty King. That is the way that we will forever remember and honor Devin Clark. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Devin and Lyric and Devin, I'm finding it very difficult to talk about accountability for the one and not for the other. Because they spent their last moments together. They died together. And Issiah Ross killed them. I hope that Devin will be remembered for all of the things his family just shared with us. His kindness, his loyalty, his protective nature, which I fully believe he was exercising in the early morning hours of September 17th. His compassion, the mark that he left and that he leaves, and that they will forever carry with them. There have been some embarrassing, awful things said about him in this courtroom. Part of that was unavoidable because it was part of the evidence in the case. But that's not who he was on a day-to-day basis. And I don't believe that that truly reflects the type of person that he would have grown to be. But to be accused of murder when he himself was murdered is despicable. Your Honor, the top of the presumptive range at a level 1 for sentencing is 240 months to 300 months. And I ask that you sentence Mr. Ross to that amount of time on this second-degree murder conviction.
Thank you, Ms. Orr. Mr. Trapp.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Ms. Orr, and thank you for everyone else who shared. Starting this trial and talk with Mr. Ross and his family, we always knew that this was going to be tough because we're talking about kids. 2 kids lost their life. And Ms. Orr was right to say that you can't really separate Lyric from Devin because this all revolved around when they were found together on that service road. I believe that a glimpse of what happened, an idea of what happened, was shared in this court for the last week. And I know that Issiah Ross never went out to try and harm anyone that night. And we may never know what was in the mind of Devin or Lyric that night and how everything transpired in front of them. But there was some instance at some moment where things got out of hand and it got out of control. I believe that Mr. Ross was at some time or other in fear that a firearm was used and that, unfortunately, there were 2 lives that were lost. Mr. Ross, prior to this, was a high school student. He was gainfully employed. He kept to himself, didn't have very many friends here. And his life is changed forever because of what happened. And we're not just talking legally in his liberty, psychologically, emotionally. I believe the jury, who worked very hard in making these decisions, wrestled with some of these ideas and these facts. They did not find that there was a legal self-defense. But I think it was something that they did wrestle with. I believe that a sentence in the presumptive range is appropriate, but I do not believe a sentence at the top of the presumptive range is appropriate. I believe that if there was more of an instance where Mr. Ross was the aggressor, Mr. Ross brought the dangerous weapon to the scene, something of that nature that would have made him more of a instigator of this incident rather than responding, whether appropriate or not, to what happened. When this happened, Mr. Ross was 17. He's now 21. And unfortunately, kids, because we're kids, don't respond to situations the best, or as adults might like us to, or them to. And so he'll have an opportunity to think longer about this, to grow from this, to hopefully teach others and encourage others to not make the same mistakes he did. But my hope is that he doesn't have to spend the next 20 years coming to those conclusions. And we know that whether it were 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, it's not going to bring back what was lost. That's never going to be the case. But in this instance, we're asking that the court fashion a judgment that would respect the law and the importance of keeping our community safe, but also to provide an opportunity to rehabilitate Mr. Ross. And I believe 20 years may be more than enough. And so the sentence of 192 months might be more appropriate based on the facts and circumstances as we know it at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Stand up, Mr. Ross. it is always a heavy heart that comes to a case that involves young people. There's nothing worse for us as a community and us as a people, let alone as those who are family members and are missing those crucial parts on everybody. To lose 2 lives forever and a substantial part of another. We gain nothing. We just lose. Mr. Ross, there's lots of people who've written about the grief and loss, especially when one loses a child or a brother, or a person who's become a brother. One I read recently talked about the memories of those that we love stay with us, but it's the emptiness for the memories that don't exist, for the conversations that never get to happen, the emptiness of celebrations that never occur. It's that emptiness that those who are left with that grief find just to be a vacuum in who they are. It never, ever can be filled. And in so many ways, your decisions have left your family in the very same situation. The actions that early morning, every one of them, have devastated and left people empty and scarred, and that will not go away, Mr. Ross. And that was because of the decisions you made. I do not know where whatever gun was used that night is. I don't know where Mr. Clark's phone is that maybe could have told us more about what happened. I do not know why so many shots were fired and how many of those shots occurred while people were running or had their backs turned. But it paints a horrible, horrible picture. One of fear and of terror and unmitigated loss. You heard from one of the moms who talked about how her son is going to walk across the stage and how part of what he's going to do is be carrying Devin Clark with him. You're going to spend a substantial time in jail. You are still going to be able to at least talk to your family. And someday, potentially, you will see them, be able to touch them again, to be able to sit down and celebrate life with them. Devin will never, ever have that opportunity. He will never have the opportunity to be there for the people in his life who need him. And there's nothing that can fill that void and that emptiness that is left by your actions. I'm going to sentence you today to a sentence that will not make any of that go away. But you have a choice, much like you did that night, as to what's going to happen from here on forward. In your life that you live, even if it's in custody, even if it's in prison, you get to choose whether that life is a reflection of you trying to fill some of the space that now is empty by being something more than just a convicted murderer. And that's a decision you'll have to make. But understand that is a huge burden you're carrying today. And I hope that unlike that evening, you make the decision to do the right thing, to find the light, to hopefully find faith. For that, in the end, maybe is the only comfort. I will find, Mr. Ross, that you are a level 1 with with no prior convictions. This is a B1 second-degree murder conviction. I will sentence you to 240 months minimum to 300 months maximum. You'll be given credit on this for any time you have already served. I will order that you receive a psychological evaluation when you get to Central Regional Prison, whenever that is going to be. And I will order that you receive any and all psychological assistance, as well as any educational or vocational training that's available. All right, Mr. Trapp.
When Mr. Ross first was incarcerated, he was in juvenile and then got transferred when he was an adult. And I would ask that all jail fees be waived, considering his substantial sentence.
I will do that, as well as any attorney fees that will be remitted. Mr. Trapp, you'll file that through the Capital Defender's Office.
Oh, I was retained.
You retained?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Mr. Trapp, is there anything else you'd like to put on the record right now?
Hold on one second. Just want to make sure I got my client's permission first. Yes, at this time, now that he has received his judgment and his sentence, he will give an oral notice of appeal.
I'm assuming that at this point, Mr. Ross would be unable to retain counsel for this.
That's correct.
I will appoint the appellate defender to represent Mr. Ross for his appeal. I will let the appellate defender's office file whatever necessary requests there are at this time.
Nothing further from the defense, Judge.
All right. Anything else for the state?
Your Honor, as to the remaining count, I would ask if we could set that for the March administrative session, which is our next homicide scheduling conference with Judge Bedore.
Now, I think I'm correct in assuming the appellate defender is probably going to request a transcript, but it may also be, are you, the state, requesting a transcript at this time to be provided to you and the defense?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right. I will order that that be done. I will sign whatever needs to be done in order to get that prepared and get that finalized.
Thank you.
Ms. Trapp, you're going to be continuing your representation of Mr. Ross at this time on the remaining count?
I will be in conversation with Mr. Ross and his family, but I believe so.
All right. Excellent. What I'm going to ask at this time, Mr. Ross, we're going to take you in back into custody at this time. I'm going to ask everybody else at this time, I need you to stay seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to have you go back to your jury room for a couple of minutes so I can speak with you. I'm going to ask that our alternates also be escorted back to that particular room, at which time I will tell you right now, officially, you are no longer in your jury bubble. So all of my instructions, ladies and gentlemen, let me finish. So you are no longer bound by the constrictions that I placed on you. I will tell you this, it is up to you whether you talk about this or whether you don't talk about this. No one can make you. Just remember, whatever you say, remember all your fellow jurors when you do talk about this. This time, I'm going to ask for the last time, if you all would take your notebooks if you have them with you, and have you escorted back to the jury room. We'll finish up everything, and then you'll be excused.